In this beginner tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can get free cars, how to rig and animate them, and how to design a beautiful studio like this one. And the best part is, we will be using only free tools in this workflow. So, at the end of this video, you will be able to create something like that. First, you need a car. If you don't have one, you can download my C63 AMG for free. It's a professional high-quality car, already rigged, so ready for animation. But if for any reason you don't like the C63, here is another way to get beautiful cars for free. You just go to cgtrader.com, you search for free car, and boom, you will have many beautiful models free to download. And if you're lazy like me and you don't want to mess around with missing textures, you can select only Blender file. And look at the results, those cars are legit. This Audi A7 for example, this Nissan GT-R, this beautiful Porsche GT4 and many more. You have the choice, right? If you have selected one of them, it might not be rigged, so let me show you how to do that. It will be much easier if you want to animate it later. I'm going to download, for example, this Audi. So you create a free account and you click on free download. The blend file is compressed here, so I will download this one. Okay, so this is the car open in Blender, and whoa, all the parts are named correctly and ready to be rigged. So that's not a good example. That's too easy. Let's find another one. I will try this Audi RS6. Yeah, this one is much more complicated. As you can see, there are many parts with no names, so it is not ready at all to be rigged. That's a very good example for us, so let's do this after this quick shout out. Hello everyone and welcome to The Ride, my Blender car animation course created for beginners and intermediate users who want to get into car animation. I'm so proud to present this project. It's more than 64 videos and 11 hours of training, and today I can finally share it with you. In this course, you are going to cover all the topics you need to master in order to create your own 3D projects, such as environment design, lighting, animation, camera framing for TikTok, Instagram or YouTube short, smoke simulation, DaVinci Resolve, sound effects, and the list goes on. I will also provide all the necessary assets that you need to follow along. My updated city pack with skyscrapers, city props, and 22 new buildings that you can use in all your animations. HDRI magic to create realistic animations in a few clicks, and with the collaboration of Ashworth Cars, 3D Shaker, and Zephyr 3D, you will also get this C63 AMG, this Audi RS5, this Corvette C8, and this beautiful Mustang. Yes! Everything is included in this course. So to rig a car, you need to have 5 or 9 different parts if your car has brakes. And it seems to be the case for this one. So at the end, we will need to have the body, the 4 wheels and 4 brakes. And what I like to do first is to put all the parts concerning the body in one collection. So let's go in wireframe mode. Let's go on the side and try to select all the parts that are not the wheels. You press Shift and you continue to select. And every time you select something, just be sure that you're not selecting the wheels. If it's the case, just Ctrl Z and go back. I know that I have some missing parts, but let's already move all those parts in one collection. So you press M on your keyboard, new collection, and name it body. And you press OK. So now we have a collection named body with all those parts inside. So let's hide it. You press Shift and you press on this little eye to hide all the elements. And we can see that we forgot a lot of different elements, but that's easy to fix. So you select those and M, move to body, and we do the same here. You select those, M, and move to body. Okay, cool. Now we have only the wheels visible, and we know that all those parts concern the wheels. Okay, first, let's isolate the brakes. So you click on the brakes and you can see that we will need to separate those two. So you go in edit mode by pressing tab on your keyboard. And here you notice that only one brake is highlighted. It means that this one doesn't exist yet. It's surely because there is an array modifier apply. Here you go in modifiers and here you can see that there is a mirror modifier. So all we need to do is to apply this. So you click here and apply. Okay, now let's select this brake and let's go in edit mode, and here you activate the toggle X-ray just to be sure that you are selecting everything when you select a piece. So let's do that here, and you press P and separate by selection. So now we know that this is one part and this is another part. So let's give them the proper name. So you select the piece, and here numpad period to focus on the piece. And I will put all the different names in the description, so you just have to copy paste. So this one is the brake front left. So here F2 and front left. So it means that this one is the front right. So F2 and front right. Okay, cool. We have already two pieces. Let's do the same for the back brakes. Okay, cool. Now we have the 4 brakes correctly named. Let's take care of the wheels. First, I will hide the different brakes so I don't mess around with them anymore. If we select the tire here, we can see that those one are not separated as well. And we could do that for all the different pieces, but it would take a very long time. So I will show you another way to do that. You select everything here, you go in edit mode, be sure to have your toggle X-ray activated, and you select all those different parts. P, separate by selection, and that's it. You go back in object mode. Now you have separated everything. Now all you have to do in object mode, you select this wheel entirely. You press Ctrl and G to join everything. And here I will give it the correct name. So that's F2 wheel front left. Let's do the same with the other wheel. So you select everything, right click and join. So you have this F2 and this one is right, front right. And now all you have to do is to do the same for the back wheels. If you have an issue to join all the different parts, select first the rim and then you select everything and then Ctrl G. Okay, now we have our different wheels. Let's see what are those planes. So I will press numpad period to zoom, and this one, what is that? I'm not sure what it is. So let's just delete those. Okay, cool. Now I will try to join the body as well. So I will hide all the wheels and I will display the body. So select this part and then you select everything and Ctrl G. Okay, cool. Now we have only one piece for the body. Let's name it body, and now we can move it back to this collection and we don't need this collection anymore. Okay, great. We have our 9 parts. So the body, the 4 wheels and the 4 brakes. And now all you have to do is to download the Car add-on, but there is a bug actually with this version 7.1 for Blender 3.6 or 3.5. So you will have to download the fixed version that I have created. The link will be in the description. That's very important. Once again, do not use this version, but use the link I will provide in the description. When the file is downloaded, you go in Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, Install, you search for the file. Should be something like that, and you press install add-on. Then be sure to have the add-on activated with this checkbox. And one more thing, before we install the rig, you will select all the different parts like this, right click, you go in set origin and origin to geometry. Now we select all the parts, shift A, armature, and car deformation rig. From there you will have all the different bones installed for the brakes, for the wheels and for the body. Let's adjust the one for the body. I will press 3, I will move it down just to have this little angle right on the car, something like that. Now you press N to see your different add-ons, you go in a car and you click on generate, and boom, we have our rig installed. Be sure to be in pause mode and you select, for example, this control, yes, this one for the drift. Perfect. Congratulations, we have our rig installed. Great, and now we can animate the car, and I will continue this video using the car I did choose for my final animation. Now for the animation part, I will import the car I will use, so File, Append, and it's exactly the same if you want to use my C63 AMG. You select the blend file and Append, Object, you press A, I don't want to import the camera, and Append. From there, you select all the objects starting with WGT and M to move them to a new collection, and let's name this collection ND, like not needed, something like that, and just deactivate it. Now we need to create a path for our car to follow, so let's do that. Shift A, you go in Curve and Path. G and X to move it, and let's rotate it here, minus 90 degrees. And just to be sure that we are in the correct direction, you click on the path, you go in edit mode by pressing tab on your keyboard, and here you activate the normals and you will see those arrows. It means that we are going in this direction, the minus Y direction. Okay, so that's perfect. Let's go back in object mode. So here, object mode or tab. Let's scale our path. So S, and you scale it, something like that. And now I want to create a curve, so I'll go back in edit mode by pressing tab, and then I will select this point, for example, and G and X to move it. And here you can see the path So let's do that for this point as well, G and X. So we already have a curve from the start, and with this one as well, so G and X. Okay, cool. So now I have this cool curve, right? Let's go back in object mode by pressing tab. And now you want to attach your car to this curve. So you click on the rig, and here you go in pose mode. The shortcut is Control and Tab. Now in pose mode, you will click on this blue rig, and here you click on the bone constraint, the blue bone, add bone constraint, and you select follow path, and here you select the path, and boom, your car will be attached to the path. Follow curve, because this is what we want to do. And fix position, because we want to limit this value from 0 to 1. The forward axis here is -y, so let's do that, -y. And here our car is not starting at the beginning of the curve, so let's fix that. Here, you click on Object, and you remove any values that you find here. You put 0, so now that's perfect. To do a test, you can raise this offset factor to 1, and here we go. We have our car moving on the path. That's perfect. On frame number 1, you move your mouse on the offset factor here, and you press I on your keyboard to insert a keyframe. And let's say we want an animation of 160 frames. So you go on frame 160, and you change the offset factor to 1 to go at the end of the curve, and you press I again. So now if we check the result, perfect. Our car is animated on the curve. But as you can see, there is no wheels rotation or steering movement, so we have to fix that. You click on the blue button again, and we have to go in the RigoCar add-on. And here you click on Bk.R steering, press OK, and you do the same for the wheels rotation. OK. So now, if we check the result, perfect. Our wheels are animated, and it's the same for the steering. Great, so one more thing we could do to improve our animation. At the end of the curve, the car is not stopping in the realistic way, so let's change that. We will use this control, so you click on it. So our animation ends at 160, so let's go to 155, and here you press I on your keyboard. That will insert a keyframe for this control, and at frame 160 item, I will change the value to -0.05, and you see what it's doing. It's like I'm moving this little control up front, like my car is braking, but not too much, okay? 0.05 is enough, and you press I on your keyboard to insert a keyframe. And this time we go for a positive value of 0.02, I to insert a keyframe. And let's see the result so far. You see now this little break at the end, this little animation. I think that's adding a lot to the realism of our little project. So let's continue. 2 frames later, like at frames 166, because we don't want to stop like that. Let's do it again. So -0.05 this time, because we want a very slight change. And we will continue maybe 2 more times. So 2 keyframes again. And this time we go for a positive value because we go on the other side, right? So keyframe, and then we finish the animation 2 frames later at the initial position. So let's test the animation. Perfect, great. So we have our animation done. Now it's time to create our studio. Right click, new collection, and name this collection studio. With this collection selected, Shift A and mesh and cube. That will be our studio. For its size, you press N, item. For X, for my project, I went for 6.4, 25.8 for the Y, and 3 meters for the Z. And for the location, because I want to have my studio on the grid, I went for 1.5 for Z, which is half of the Z length. So now if we check, my studio is perfectly on the ground. Now let's delete some faces. So you select the cube and tab to go in edit mode. Here you select this icon to select the faces. So this one, this face, and delete. You can select faces, and this one as well. Delete faces. This first part is now ready. Let's name it studio. Now we can add a ground. So Shift A, mesh, plane. And for the size, I went for 21 meter and 29 for Y. It doesn't have to be that large, but when I started this project, I wasn't sure about the final animation. So normally, if you move your path inside, it should fit. So G and Shift Z. Yes, Perfect. Here I can see that my car is a little too deep into ground. So let's select car rig and G and Z to raise it a bit, not too much, because you want your tire to be in the ground like this one. That will simulate the effect of pressure, okay, maybe something like that. And before we take care of the lights, let's apply some material. Most of the time for the textures, I'm using the site polygon.com, and I will put the link in the description. I like the quality of their materials, and they got a blender add-on which makes my life much easier. I'm using a paid plan, but you don't have to. They got a lot of free textures, and this is the material I have selected for my project, but you could use this one which is free. To download the add-on, you just click on this link, Blender, and you will be able to download the free add-on. In Blender, as usual, you go in Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, Install, you select the file you have downloaded, here, Polygon add-on, and you click on Install add-on. Then you press N and you will have it installed here, Polygon. And to find our textures, you just go here in All Assets, you select Textures, and instead of all textures, you select free, and here it is. You choose your resolution and you hit download. So as I told you, the one I use is this one. So like me, you just click on apply 4K. Let's go in material preview mode. So press Z on your keyboard and material preview. And that's it. We have the material applied for us. And the scaling actually is not good. So I click on shading, and here all you have to do is to raise the scaling until you have something you like. I will go for something like that. Now for the walls, I have just created a simple black material. So you click on the cube, and here you press new. Let's name it walls. For the base color, I just go pure black, and I change the roughness to 0.123 to have some reflections. Okay, great. Now let's take care of the lights. Shift A, mesh and plane. Let's name it lights and down. You will understand why in a few seconds. Let's move it G here so we can have a better view of this item. So N, item. For the size, let's go for 1.4 and 0.08 and a rotation of 90 degrees for the y-axis. And because the x is 1.4, we can have a 0.7 for z, so it will be just on the ground like this. Let's move it around here. And from there, you can activate this little snap icon, so it will snap on the surface, and here you select face project. So if I move it now, G and Shift Z, as you can see, it's snapping on our studio. So let's put it here for now. I will deactivate the snapping. And the idea is to repeat this object here on the wall. So let's do that with an array. So it will be easy to modify it manually if needed. So add modifier and array modifier. We want a relative offset, but not on the X, on the Y, so 1 for Y. And here, if I raise the count, all the panels are stick together. So we need a constant offset as well. And let's say 0 here and 50 around here. Great. Let's add some lights. 12 is enough. Okay, now let's add another array. And this time I don't want any relative offset, so I don't need that. But I want a constant offset here and 0. And the idea is to project those lights on the other side. So 6 point something like that. So now we have the same lights duplicated on the other side of the studio. And finally, let's add a final array for the upper part. And we want a relative offset of -1, but it's sticking to the other one. So let's raise the offset to 0. So -0.14, something like that. So we have a little hole between the lights. It looks better for my taste. Now that we have those lights, let's take care of the lights on the ceiling. So let's duplicate this one, Shift D, okay, and this one we will call lights up. Let's remove all those arrays and let's change the size a bit. So let's go for 0.82 and 0.08 is okay. This time we don't want any rotation and the Z should be around 3 meters. Let's add an array for this one as well. So we want 3 of them. The relative offset is good, but we want a constant offset as well around 0.146. And let's move the X position until we have something we like. Alright, that's good enough. Let's add another array. So array, and this time we want and relative offset on Y. Same for the constant offset. We want Y 50 and 0 on X. And let's raise the count like the other one for 12. Now for the material, let's go in shading, new. Let's name in lights. For the emission strength, I went for 100. For the color, it's up to you. But mine is this one. You can go for pure white as well. It's up to you. All right, so let's see how it looks. Layout, and let's go in render mode. So great, it's looking good. And let's apply the same material to the lights up. So you select lights up here and you go in material and you select the lights we have created. Lights. Great, so that's it. As you can see, it was very easy to create this beautiful studio. And now for the camera animation, you can do whatever you want. So for this one, I placed the camera in front of the car and simple movements towards the camera. And for my render settings, for the resolution first, this is the resolution I'm using, so 1920 on 810 for the cinematic aspect ratio, 24 FPS, and I use 2048 samples. Of course, you have to activate the motion blur. I choose PNG, and let me tell you how long it takes to render that. So it took around 30 seconds for my machine to render one frame, and I have 4090. But of course, you don't have to use that many samples, 2048, you can use 1000 or 500. It's up to you. Just check if the image quality matches your need. And for the composition in DaVinci Resolve, I just added some glow for the lights, and as usual I'm using film convert for the grading. Okay guys, this is how I created this little car animation. If you want more details on a specific part, don't hesitate to ask in the comment section. Thank you for watching, I'll talk to you soon, bye bye.